Good morning, everyone. This is Bryan Fryar again with Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union, the sales manager in the real estate department, and want to welcome everyone again to our monthly webinar seminar we have here at TVFCU. I've got a few guests here today, but before I introduce our first guest, I just want to talk a little bit about TVFCU and what we do. Of course, those of you who live in the Chattanooga area, North Georgia area, Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union, been around a long time, since 1936, memory serves me correct. We are a community-based credit union. We are a full-service credit union, which means we do all types of banking activity, savings accounts, share accounts, savings accounts, checking accounts, etc. We also do consumer loans, auto loans, boat loans, etc. And in my department, we do mortgage loans. Don't forget the commercial loans as well. We do business loans. But in my side, in my department, we do mortgage loans, residential mortgage loans. So just want to take a couple minutes just to talk about what we do at TVFCU on the real estate side, the mortgage side, before I introduce our first guest. A little bit about myself. I've been in the mortgage industry about 22, 23 years, roughly, going on 23 years, in the sales end, origination, management, etc. So had a lot of experience and seen a lot of the good things and a few of the bad, mostly good though. I can say also right now we are seeing a very interesting time in the mortgage industry. Very, very low interest rates ever since COVID hit March of last year, and historically low. And also, we're looking at a very tight purchase market because limited inventory in homes. And I'll be talking to my first guest about that a little bit more. But TVFCU is a mortgage lender. We are one of the top lenders in the Chattanooga area, residential lenders. We have loans that we sell in the secondary market, like most lenders, but we also keep loans in-house too, which we call our portfolio. Being able to keep loans in-house gives us a lot of freedom to specialize and try to cater to our own specific market here in the Chattanooga area, North Georgia area. So just want to, just kind of briefly touch on what we do. We do purchases of residential homes and raw land. We also do refinances, where if you want to refinance for a lower rate or something like that, or do some cash out. We also do second mortgages and home equity lines of credit as well. So we have a full range of products. Oh, also have unimproved property loans that we do on land where someone doesn't have a home on the land and it's residential property. We can do a loan on those as well. So do keep those in mind when you're looking for a lender. We are a full service lender. We have an origination team, which is my group. We also have in-house processing. So that means that your loan, once your originator has put your loan package together, gives it to a processor who will go ahead and process that loan, order appraisal, title work, etc., and get that loan ready to go to an underwriter, which also we have underwriting in-house too. So all decisions are made locally here in Chattanooga. So that is a great thing. And we also have our closing department and servicing department that services the loans that we do keep in house. So just want to let everybody know that that everything is done locally. You won't be calling somebody in Birmingham or in Houston or in Los Angeles or New York or something like that. All our business is kept here. All our employees are here in the Chattanooga, North Georgia area. So just kind of want to tell everybody a little bit about that. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first guest. Just want to say he is a realtor here in the Chattanooga area. We work with him very often. His name is Matt Mucciolo with RE/MAX. And when Matt comes on, he's going to give you a little bit of information about himself. There he is. Hey, Matt, how are you? Good morning.
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. If you will, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then after that, we'll discuss what's going on in the Chattanooga, North Georgia market.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Matt Mucciolo. I've been with RE/MAX basically since I started selling real estate. I've been doing it since 2011. So I've gotten quite a good bit of experience over, this last 8 or 9 years. And I've got to see quite a bit of a market shift from when I started in the times where foreclosures were everywhere and tons of houses on the market and things were being purchased at ridiculously low prices, which was one of the reasons that actually brought me to Chattanooga in general. And I've seen it grow and grow and turn into this craziness that we've got going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw an article. It's been about a month or two ago from U-Haul that showed the top destinations people were moving to in the United States, and I think Tennessee was number one. Is that correct?
Tennessee was number one. I mean, we have a surplus of U-Haul trucks sitting here. Other states trying to get to them, apparently.
Wow, wow. I know I have one of my employees, originators. He lives in Nashville. Of course, he originates, anywhere in the Tennessee area. But he's saying Nashville is a hot market too, and Chattanooga is not far behind that either.
I really don't think so. I have a lot of realtor friends in Nashville that kind of just tell me that they're having the same. I think we're all just kind of having the same issues with this lack of inventory, prices getting crazy, lots of people trying to build new houses, but getting further and further out because land is cheaper and that's the only place that they can do it. And I have a great couple that's relocating here from Memphis, and they were telling me that one of the subdivision that they lived in, they were phase 4, and that subdivision is now currently on phase 12.
Wow.
And this is 4 years later from when they purchased. So, I think just in general, people are just trying to build to supply the masses that are moving to Tennessee.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get into a little bit here about what's going on with the market and preparing your home to sell. I want to touch a little bit more on what TVFCU does, and this is going to be more specific to what Matt does in the purchase market, which is something that we try to specialize in. At TVFCU, of course, like I said in my intro, we have two types of loans. We have loans that we sell to the secondary market. People ask, what is the secondary market? Secondary market are loans that you sell to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, USDA, etc. We do Freddie Mac loans currently at TVFCU. We hope to be expanding our product line, but then we also do our in-house products that we keep in-house, and both on the purchase and the refinance side. On the purchase side, just to give a little high-level view of what we do loans through the secondary market, which do require some type of a down payment, either 3% or 5%. In one of our products we have is a Home Possible, which is a minimum down payment. Those loans, if you don't put 20% down, it does have the monthly PMI. Our in-house products, we don't have monthly PMI. We even have a product that requires no down payment on a primary residence if it's a single family home. So again, this leads me into what Matt and I are going to be talking about, the market in Chattanooga area, and we've been talking about. But just want to let everybody know that we do these types of loans that Matt's clients are looking for in purchasing a home. And I know also too, when people are looking for a home, they're either looking for a primary residence or in some cases they're looking for some type of an investment property. I know investment properties are very hot these days because the housing market is hot. Rental market is huge right now. But that being said, the market is very tight. Which before we go into about talking about how to prepare your home for a sale, Matt, if you will, just kind of tell us a little bit about why maybe we're looking at such a tight market. I know demand is high and builders can't keep up with the demand, but maybe you can lead in a little bit more about why it's in some numbers possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I do that, I would like to say I have closed a lot of business with Tennessee Valley, and very thankful for them. And they have been really easy to work with, because I think when I first started working with you guys, you weren't really well known for home sales. And I didn't know, because I'm, still somewhat new. So when I would write offers and send pre-approval letters, I'd get some feedback from agents saying, why are you using them? Like, how, what are they going to be doing? And I will say, I've worked with a lot of lenders, and my experience has always been great, always on time, closing ready, appraisals ordered on time, everything like that. And I absolutely love the portfolio loans for my clients. My clients have loved them. Some of this 0% down stuff has really worked out well. And, we never encourage like, hey, you don't want to put any money down. No, but if that's the way that it works and prices are right, it's worked out really well. So I just do want to say that before I went into some of the numbers. But, looking at numbers today even is insane. On a regular year, and I don't want to call 2020 a regular year because it was obviously with COVID, it's definitely off. But typically, in our MLS system, we have somewhere around 3,000 available homes. For the longest, it was around 4,000. It started to dwindle in 17, 18, 19, but 3,000 was pretty standard. I just looked today, just in Hamilton County alone, there's only 317 active homes available.
Wow.
So we realize that there is definitely a just typical economic supply and demand issue. So supply super low, demand's really high. We're still getting influx from California, from the Northeast, from the Midwest. Even I've had multiple clients moving up here from Florida. So, our pricing is still very affordable, even though it doesn't seem like it for our area, because we see these crazy prices. But, looking at statistics, the pricing from last year is in East Brainerd and Ottawa, and I just tried to pick two bigger areas. Ottawa's pricing is up almost 60%.
Wow.
East Brainerd pricing is up 48%. So pricing is really starting to come up. And if you're a buyer out there, it's scary because you're like, well, are we in a bubble? What's the situation? And obviously, I wish that I could predict these things, but those are unpredictable. To me, it feels more just like a supply and demand issue, and people want to be here, and they want to be close to things. So if you're trying to be in Hamilton County, it's tough right now. You got to be ready, and you got to have pre-approval letters, and you got to be writing offers that have language that is going to protect you, but makes the seller know that you're very serious about their home.
Yeah, and that's I've read. I try to keep up on the articles and what's going on, and there's a lot of things they're saying. The market being so hot, and of course, low interest rate is one of the keys because you can afford more of a house that way with a lower interest rate. And also too, we have the younger generation, the millennials, getting up in their upper 20s, and they're at house buying age right now. So we're starting to see a lot of that, a lot of millennials purchasing home, which, as we know right now, is the largest demographic group in the United States that have replaced the baby boomers. But we're also seeing too baby boomers buying homes too. And in my generation, Gen Xers, they're upgrading or some maybe downgrading homes or looking for a second home or investment properties too. So I'm noticing generation-wise, seeing a lot.
I think I just sold a house a couple days ago to a couple that was in their late 60s, and they told me before we even started, they said they had absolutely no desire to buy another house and have a 30-year mortgage and all that. And I think it just kind of fell to them. They were thinking that they were going to rent, and then they started looking. They're like, well, so it's all over the place. I can't pinpoint what my average is, but I can tell you, just talking to some other agents, it is all over the place. And I think a lot is because the money is so cheap with the interest rates.
Yeah, it's driving demand and everything. And you were talking about the housing shortages and not just being in the Chattanooga or Tennessee area. It's all over. It's Texas, it's Florida, it's Mississippi, it's California, it's Washington State, everywhere. So builders, I know.
Specifically our market, I mean, I can't remember a time when I couldn't pull up Rossville, Georgia, and there'd be 100 listings, and a lot of low priced listings, and just Rossville, which is typically a $100,000 to $110,000 average price, is up to almost 160 to 175, and you're thinking like, oh well, where is the affordability? Where is that? And it's still extremely affordable when you start to talk to the lender and find out what the actual monthly payments are. If you don't look at, oh my God, 175,000 seems like so much money. If you start talking to lenders and see like, okay, well, 175,000 with 3% down is, $1,200 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever that number is. That's why you really need to talk to a lender to get over the sticker shock of whatever the prices are.
Yeah, I know, and the rates are so low, and they people ask me, are they going to go any lower? Are they going to stay low? Well, everything I'm reading right now, mortgage rates are going to be going up. I mean, but still, they are historically low. They're going to be low for a while, I would think. Everything I'm reading, so yes, rates may not be as low as they were a few months ago, but they're still super, super low. again, 22, 23 years in this business, I've never seen them this low this past year. We did see a interest rate decline back in 2011 and 12. There was a big refinance boom back then, but prior to that, I'd never seen rates this low. And this past year, they've gone even lower than they were in 2011 and 12. So yes, the low interest rates drives the demand, drives the price of the homes to go up too. People, the demand and everything. What are you seeing as far as types of homes people are looking for? I know single family homes are huge. Are people being
Yeah.
towards condos or anything like that?
Single family homes, I think in the Chattanooga market in general, what I've noticed is single family homes are still probably the priority. But I have noticed in the last just 2 months, because there's such a shortage of single family homes, people are looking all over. The condo purchases have gone up. I don't know what the percentage is on it, but townhome purchases, I mean, I don't even know if there is a townhome available on the market today.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at everything every single day, hot sheets, see what's coming up. Obviously, I'm not keeping track of what's for sale by owner, but there, anything that somebody can get their hands on, and it doesn't matter if it's somebody purchasing it for themselves or if it's an investor. I mean, people are just trying to buy whatever they can because there's just nothing out here to buy. So
Yeah.
I've got investors paying, 2 times the price of what potentially they can bring in on a monthly rent just to have something, to continue to, build portfolios and stuff like that. And that's really messing up the market as well. And, I'm the first one that can tell you that, like, we have to help our clients no matter what they want to do, but it is hurting the market for first-time home buyers who just want to find themselves a starter home. And now you're typically only bidding up against other first-time home buyers. Now you're bidding against investors that if you can't find a house, you're going to be renting from those people.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something we've been seeing for first-time home buyers too. Is kind of pricing them a little bit out of the market. I mean, the low rates are good, and they can sometimes afford that payment, but they're starting to look at their budgets, especially if they're younger, or if they're millennials and they may have college debt or something like that, or just starting a family. They have to be careful on their budget and everything. Something that we've run into, and I'm sure you can attest to this because other lenders I've talked to, they're running it too. Of course. People are bidding higher than the purchase price of the home, so that's something that we're seeing a lot of, and it does affect, of course, when the appraisal comes in. The appraisal's not reaching that purchase price because it's been a bit above that, and your borrower is going to have to come with that difference. So, if you could expand on that, what you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I haven't run into it too much. This is the first time I think I've seen a market where obviously it's pretty much across the board that you're bidding over the asking price.
Yeah.
And you're typically in the past you were bidding, $6,000-7,000 over the asking price and then asking the seller to pay for your closing costs. And that's really all the difference was. Now I'm seeing, homes go on the market, have 20 offers, all these offers $10,000 to $30,000 over asking price, not asking for closing costs, nothing like that. And appraisals, luckily so far have kind of adjusted. I definitely had some issues with some appraisals so far, and it really depends on the seller and the buyer. And has the seller already made an offer on another home? Are they willing to drop the price a little bit? Are they willing to meet in the middle? Did the buyer put something in the contract that says they'll pay cash for whatever the difference is? So I've noticed it's definitely a case-by-case basis. But luckily, so far, I haven't had too many terrible appraisals. There's been a few. I've heard some horror stories from other agents that say, we had something under contract for $400,000. The appraisal came in at $360,000. They had to order another appraisal, and then it actually worked out. So it sometimes just depends on who you get as an appraiser, and sometimes you don't have a choice. You just got to bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah, and we haven't seen a whole lot of that in the Chattanooga area. Of course, Nashville and we've done some loans up in that area, and we have seen quite a bit of that. Atlanta area we've done too. So we are seeing some of that, and a little bit in Chattanooga, not a whole lot. Depends on the area. The more desirable the area, the more people will fight for it. Which is going to lead me.
I was going to say, this is the first time that I've noticed where appraisers are actually, I think they're taking that supply and demand. They're taking the lack of inventory into consideration when they're valuing these homes, because they realize, like, well, maybe the only comp was from 2 years ago, but there's been nothing on the market, and they realize, like, that's a premium.
Yeah, and that's something we're seeing on our end is and sometimes the asking prices of the homes and the comps may have not caught up just yet, but we're starting to see the sales are starting to list on MLS and the sold homes and everything. So hopefully that's going to be a little bit better. It's going to kind of lead me into my next thing. If somebody has decided they do want to sell, and then again, if you're wanting to sell, make sure you have a plan on where you're going to move to, because once you move out of your house, you're going to rent or you're going to buy somewhere else. But if somebody wants to sell, what's kind of a good idea? What they need to do to prepare to sell? I know on our end, they need to come see us about getting pre-qualified if they're looking at purchasing. But as far as I know, I always tell everybody, you got a realtor yet? Have you got a realtor? If you don't, you need to get a realtor, and especially in this market.
Yeah, and I'm going to say the same thing. I think the very first thing is, interview a couple realtors and have them come to your house, or obviously, talk to them on the phone first, but have them come to your house, have them assess your home, get a value for your home, and see what that is. And really, before that, like you said, that you have to have a plan, because I have a ton of clients right now that I've sold houses to in the past that are saying, Matt, I think my house is worth this much money. And I said, it is worth that much, or probably more than whatever you're thinking it is. But where are we going to go? Because if they're staying in town, that's the biggest thing. So definitely number one is, what is your plan? Do you have a secondary place that you can go if you can't find a home and you're ready to get sold, or growing family, whatever that is? So have a plan. Definitely in my opinion, talk to a realtor, get a valuation of your home. Figure out what you need to do to your home. Do you need to get paint? Do you need to do some upgrades? Or can you sell it as is for a discounted price and still be very happy with what you're getting and be able to move on, take some stress out of your life, and not have to do repairs or upgrades or whatever. But go ahead and figure out whatever. Before you talk to anybody, figure out what your budget would be for repairs on your home, and then whatever it would be for a new home. And as you're talking to realtors, take that into consideration for how much money I really want to spend on fixing my house up to get the premium price, or not fixing it up and getting a price that's a really good price and still going to make you money so you can move on and buy what you want.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always when I was in the sales end of it before management is talking to people, and if they're going to sell their home, they need to do some what we call curbside appeal. They need to, if they're wanting to get that maximum price for that home, they've got to show the curbside appeal and what I call pride and ownership too. That goes for the exterior of the house as well as the interior too. So you want to make sure that grass is cut if you're going to be showing it, especially if an appraiser is coming by to appraise the home. You want to check and see if there are any items that need to be repaired, paint, like you said, fresh paint, etc. Shrubs if they need to be trimmed, etc. So making sure that home, if you're going to be asking max price for it, you need to make sure it looks like it's going to be max price too. That would be smart.
First impression is key. And I will say, caveat to that is, right now maybe not so much, just because there's not much on the market, so people can kind of get over it. But typically, if you're trying to get the highest price, I mean, first impression is key. When somebody pulls into the driveway, they are, as a buyer, they're assessing every part of the home immediately. And what are these sellers like? Did they take care of my home? Like you said, did they take care of this home? Are there cracks all over the exterior walls? Is it freshly painted? Are there new bushes? Are the trees trimmed? Are there trees hanging over? Is the grass cut? Like all of these things, buyers are looking at immediately. And the biggest thing that one of the reasons that I think the market actually slows down in the winter is not the weather. It's just things don't look as pretty, right? Trees are dead, grass is brown potentially or not. There's no flowers, there's no color, there's no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
In the biggest thing that I've seen for curb appeal is color. Anything that you can bring color, not to your walls exterior wise, but to the walk up to the house, bring flowers, color, things that pop and make your house, make it look like you loved your home, you love coming there every day, and this is, this is your canvas, and you're painting a beautiful picture.
Yeah. I'm going to be introducing a couple more guests here in just a second to talk a little bit more about curbside appeal. But before we get to them, I kind of want to talk about, the interior of the home and some parts of the exterior of the home. And something I've run into, and I know Matt, he probably talks to his clients about this, is whenever you're wanting to sell a home, chances are your buyer is going to have to finance that home through a lender, hopefully with TVFCU, but not with TVFCU, another local lender. And I encourage anyone to use a local lender. We want to support our local economy. But something that we do run into is, of course, with the market the way it is, and people can sell a lot of properties as is. And when it comes to financing on a mortgage, lenders are very, very particular as far as if there are any repairs needed to the home, especially major repairs. So that's something, if you're a seller, you need to be aware of. Yes, you may get a cash offer on your home. They'll buy it as is, and that's fine as long as the buyer knows what they're getting. But if they are financing, just remember that your lender, the lender of the buyer, may have an issue if there are major repairs needed done to the home, foundation items, missing flooring, cabinets, anything. Again, it is a hot market. You can sell that home, but if you have a buyer that is wanting to buy it and it is financing, it could be an issue with their lender. So that's something I do recommend any seller be aware of that. And
one thing with that is I definitely encourage, even if you're doing some work on the house, and even if it's just a handyman, a local guy that you're paying cash to, whatever, I always recommend get a receipt, get something that shows that you took care of that. Because when you sell the property, people are going to be like, oh, well, when was the HVAC, or when was this repaired? When was what? And at least if you have something that shows that you did take care of it, they can believe it or not. You have it, it's there. I always recommend keeping things like servicing your HVAC stuff. That's a huge thing nowadays because people are getting into these older homes. The HVAC unit might be 8 years old, 12 years old, whatever. Those things can last a long time. A lot of people think they can't if they're serviced correctly. So keeping documentation of any type of repairs that you make, if you did a crawl space, new vapor barrier, crawl space repairs, whatever it is, try to keep up with those major things. Because that's important.
It is important, and like I said, it's if you are selling, or if you're a buyer, be aware of the home that you're buying. I personally do recommend an inspection, especially older homes, just to know what you are buying. And also, too, I want to touch on, there is a difference between an inspection and an appraisal. An inspection is going to be up to the buyer and seller at their discretion to do. Most lenders is not required unless there's an issue that an appraiser catches, which an appraisal is something that your lender will order to make sure or to check the value of the home, the marketability. That's something we do at TVFCU. We order our appraisals through an appraisal management company to keep that distance between us and the appraiser and not to influence anyone. And an appraiser is just looking at value, marketability. They're not, quote, an inspector. Now, they can notice some things, and they may put it in their report that they might see that might be an issue. Foundation issues, cracking. The ceiling may have stains from where the roof may have leaked. And again, like Matt said, if the roof leaked at one time, but they've had it fixed since then, you have a receipt, and also you can show a new roof. There again, that. Hopefully that issue is taken care of. So right now I'm going to go ahead and bring in our next guest here from Crabtree Farms, Melissa and Hannah from Crabtree Farms. They're going to talk a little bit about some of that curb appeal we've been talking about and kind of give us some ideas. And also they're going to talk about upcoming spring plant sale, I think is what we have here. So going to give us a few pointers here. I think we've got, hey, Melissa and Hannah, how are you today?
Hey, thank you for having us today and giving us the opportunity to be a part of this conversation. We really appreciate TVFCU. Y'all help the community in so many ways. You're a sponsor of the farm, and every year we appreciate y'all more and more. So thank you for having us.
You're welcome, and thank you for being on with us. Love Crabtree Farms. I've been out there myself. It's beautiful. I know you guys have an amazing reputation. So if you will, just tell me a little bit about Crabtree Farms, just a little bit of background.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were established in 1998. We're a nonprofit urban educational farm on the edge of downtown. We're maybe 10 minutes from the aquarium, which many people don't know. We're the sweet little hidden gem that we would prefer not to be a hidden gem, because we have 22 acres of beautiful land. And on this land, we host a number of programs. We're very dynamic. Our goals here at the farm, our mission, are to grow, educate, and connect. So we grow the most beautiful vegetables in Chattanooga. But they are only part of the conversation here. Really what we strive to do is build community. We have found that that's what people are yearning in Chattanooga. And so we use the vegetables as a conversation piece, as a catalyst to move forward in community building. And so we have workshops and volunteer opportunities. We're just opening back our community garden beds, which is really exciting for us. It will connect us to even greater to our immediate neighbors and then the surrounding neighbors throughout Chattanooga. We host field trips throughout the year in non-COVID times. We're hoping to bring those back in the next few months. But one of our biggest events is coming up is our 21st annual spring plant sale. This is an event that, if you say it out in the community, that's where people are like, woo, yay, plant time, because spring has sprung. I mean, the weather is beautiful. People want to get outside. It is a very COVID-safe activity for folks to tinker in the garden and things of that nature. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to Hannah, who is one of our AmeriCorps members, and she's going to talk about all the plants we're going to have at our plant sale, which is going to help with curbside appeal as folks are, reflecting over, is it time to sell my home, and things of that nature.
Yeah, and before you start, I when you're talking about plants and everything, I read several articles during the pandemic. A lot of people having to stay in. That's become a new hobby. Our indoor plants, and now with spring coming, outdoor plants and planting gardens. So, and again, the indoor plants not only outdoor plants do curbside appeal, but indoor plants can do interior appeal too. So, and I'm just going to hand it over to you. But that's something that I've read about lately, and from a boardroom standpoint and home standpoint, definitely can add, at least the aesthetic value to your home. And so,
yeah, absolutely. In this past year, we have seen a boom in home gardens and also permaculture design. It has become a hobby during COVID that we hope that will continue, because putting your hands in the earth is good for your spirit. It's good for your body. It's good for your belly. It's a win-win all around. So definitely. I'll hand it over to Hannah.
Perfect. So I'm Hannah. I am an AmeriCorps member here at the farm. So I'm currently working in the greenhouse, and we are planting and growing all the spring plant sale plants. We have loads and loads of stuff. Right now we're potting up over 4,000 tomatoes. So they have 40 different varieties. We do a ton of different peppers and squash and flowers and any other type of summer vegetables, eggplant, basil, lots of herbs. And we also are doing hopefully a couple house plants and definitely some perennials. So lots of blueberry plants, raspberries, grapes, all those things that you can plant, and they'll just come back year after year and continue to thrive. So those have been really great, and kind of leading them back into your curbside appeal. I think a lot of people are really into edible yards, since COVID and getting really into gardening. people are not so inclined to just go grab a shrub and put it in their yard, but they're wanting something a little bit more dynamic that can, maybe be like an educational piece. I know like fig trees and different things are really beautiful in yards, and persimmon trees, and kind of planting fruit trees that continue to last year after year. And it's also a kind of cool thing to buy a home and be able to see that tree continue to grow and produce in your yard. And especially if you have kids, it's a really fun opportunity.
Well, I know growing up as a kid, we had persimmon trees in our backyard, and I love persimmon, and I'm assuming those are pretty native to this area.
They are.
And
Mm-hmm.
they taste delicious, and as a kid, that was something we loved, just going and picking fresh persimmons. So I think
Yeah.
that's a great idea, getting some type of a plant that produces something that the family can enjoy. I think it's
Absolutely. And there's different dwarf varieties too. So if you didn't want a huge tree, there are like dwarf pomegranates and different things too that are really neat plants. And then if you're even thinking you want something a little bit more traditional, you could always do like greens or something in your front bed. So, we all have done like ornamental cabbages and things. So we could start doing more like actual edible cabbages. You could do different like salad greens and stuff. Like we have these little pots here that we're selling at the farmer's market, and they're all like little salad greens, but you could do something like this and like front pots lining your entryway, and it has chard and lettuce and romaine and different things, and you just kind of clip off of it as you want. It continues to grow through the spring. You could also do, rosemary, a big rosemary bush here. This will continue to grow forever, and they're really hardy, and they look really great along walkways or different things, or provide some really great scent too. I know them a lot by like mailboxes and things. Like lavender is also a really good one.
And sometimes should that help with maybe some type of bug control too? Some plants can too.
They can, yeah. So a couple of good ones for that would be like marigolds and nasturtiums are both really good at pest control. And then definitely rosemary can be in certain degrees as well. So that's definitely something to think about. And I know I have a lot of people who also do, just like little flower boxes with herbs and different things. And there's even some hardy succulents that we're going to have at the plant sale that are cold hardy. So that's a really neat opportunity too, if you're more in sort of like the desert style, like cactuses and succulents and different greenery in your front yard.
Yeah, I noticed whenever I drive around, especially downtown Chattanooga, North Shore, South Side, et cetera, condominiums, you'll see plants everywhere. People living in a condo. So you think, well, you don't have a yard, I can't have any plants. Well, you have a small patio or a deck or something like that. You can, or interior plants. You were saying the boxes, 2 window boxes. That's
absolutely. Yeah, small potted plants on a porch is the way to go. It really is super important, I think, just to have the empowerment of growing your own plants in general. So even if it's something that you just want to like kind of dabble in here and there, and you don't really want to go all in, having like a potted tomato and some basil, then you can have your own caprese salad, right there in your home.
I know when I had a vegetable garden a few years ago before I killed everything. May try it again.
It happens.
I really did enjoy the butter lettuce, the jalapenos, the rosemary.
I know.
All that stuff I would grow, and I'd just go pick it and then put it in my food, and it was fantastic. And it looked good too in the yard, where I'd planted it and everything. It was the eye appeal was good to it too, and the rosemary.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also, if you're not looking for something edible, there is stuff like daffodils and flowering almond and different things that continue to come back each year that are really great in yards and different things. And then also we do workshops on houseplants as well. Andy, who is a director of the greenhouses, he just recently did a really amazing workshop about houseplants. He's really passionate about tropical plants, so lots of like pothos and the viney things, and it sold out, and he'll be doing some more soon too. So definitely keep your eyes out for that.
Okay, great. Well, we're at the end. We're going to put up contact information. But I'm assuming everybody, they can come by and see you or contact you. Social media too, I'm assuming, Facebook?
Absolutely. Let me give you a little logistics of the sale. Okay. Traditionally, the sale is in person, but in light of COVID and keeping our volunteers and staff and our community members safe, we're going to do this next round of plant sale as an online purchasing and barnside pickup. So on April 10th, you mark your calendars, all the plants will go live for ordering. And you can find that link either through our website or on our social media pages on Instagram or Facebook. So you would just order your plants, you pay for them, pick your day and time to pick them up. And all you have to do is drive through the farm, pop your trunk, and we'll put your order in. It's as easy as that. Another aspect is you mentioned, you joked about all your plants dying. Well, this year, what we're going to do is the week after the end of the plant sale run, we actually have a Saturday workshop about what to do with those plants that you just purchased from us, so that you have success with your plants, because that's our goal. Our goal is not just to sell plants, but to empower you to grow your own food, enhance your yard and things of that nature. So we want to give you that tool. So how to reach us is through our website, crabtreefarms.org, or you're always welcome to give us a call at 423-493-9155. Just give us a ring and we'll help you in whatever way we can.
Okay, great. We'll post that information with everybody's contact information. And right now we're going to kind of switch it over. We've got some questions that were sent to us, quite a few, and I'm going to try to go through as many as possible. And Melissa and Hannah can help me answer some of these. We're going to bring Matt back on too to help answer some of these as well. So going to try to keep it to the curb appeal, selling your home, taking care of your home. May touch on a few mortgage things. So we're going to take the next few minutes and run through some of these questions. Let's see here. First one, what's the number one thing to do to get your house ready to sell? And I think, Matt, you can say a little bit about this, but I was going to say, you definitely want to have a plan, what you're going to do.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it a little bit. I think the number one thing is a plan, talking to a couple realtors, getting an evaluation of your home and what it needs. And obviously you can answer some of those questions on your own. If you live in your house, what things about your house bother you, or what you see every day when you're walking down a hall and you notice a chipped piece of paint, or when you're eating in the kitchen and you notice there's some trim that's offline or something like that. So you can definitely figure out some of the stuff on your own, but I definitely recommend talking to a realtor, having a plan, talking to the lender so you know what your next step is going to be or what you're approved for and whatnot.
Definitely. And then your realtor can tell, looking at the home, what could help with that curbside appeal. And then, hopefully you'll talk to the people at Crabtree Farms and help with that curb appeal there too. Let's see, we're on the next question here. Let's see. How do I find a good, reasonable contractor to do minor home repairs, such as redoing my bathroom floor? Don't want to overpay, do simple jobs done. I'm a kind of a do-it-yourselfer kind of person, so that's kind of scary sometimes. But no, I know what I can do and what I'm limited to. But and Matt can maybe talk about this and a little bit more. But what I recommend is talk to friends and family who you've used, who's a licensed contractor. Who's done good work for them, and then also check out their check them out and make sure they're licensed, see if they've had any complaints, Better Business Bureau, anything like that. You want to do your due diligence work and make sure that they've had experience, they know what they're doing, and see if they can give you some references when you talk to them of clients that they've done work for too. But friends and family are always a good source to start with. I know I see things on social media from friends of mine. Hey, who's a good plumber? Who's a good mason or does masonry work, something like that. So, Matt, if you want to expound on that a little bit.
Yeah, not to toot my own horn, but I've been dealing with this for a long time. So if you do have specific people that you need, feel free to give me a call and I'll give you those numbers. But one of the easiest things that some of my clients have done in the past is, like you said, just post on Facebook, hey, I'm looking for a plumber, or I'm looking for somebody to do something for me. And a lot of times you'll get 1,000 different answers, and call a couple of them. Just make sure that they don't. A lot of them aren't always licensed. So if they're not a licensed person, make sure that you have seen their work, or somebody can send you pictures, or they can send you pictures. They have a Facebook page, whatever it is. Do some due diligence on your own for sure. But if you're looking for specific people, feel free to give me a call, and I'll be happy to share some of my numbers with you.
Yeah. There is a good question here, and this kind of Matt, you can answer this one because this is out of my area of expertise. But and Melissa and Hannah, you could probably answer this one better than me or Matt. Can tall trees around your house lower the value of your home? Matt, have you heard anything about that?
No, they can't lower the value of your home. What they can do is they can, from my experience, they can increase the cost of your homeowner's insurance. Because obviously, if it's something that's hanging over your property line, and this is a question that I get all the time. So, you have trees that are on your property lines or whatever, and then they branch out over. Anything that is technically on your property line, and your property line goes up infinity in the sky, is yours. And, you don't have to have permission to cut it down, but your insurance sometimes wants you to, or you want your insurance, you tell your insurance, like, hey, there's this tree here on my neighbor's yard. I'm worried because it looks like it's dead. They'll have somebody come out there and assess it and potentially cut it down for you because it costs them less money in the future. But it does not lower the value of the home. It might lower the appeal from a buyer standpoint, looking and seeing like, oh my God, all these trees are cut down because they're hanging over, and that's the master bedroom, and if there's a storm, it's going to come straight down. It's more of a fear factor than a value.
And Melissa and Hannah, there are any types of trees that you're seeing that either could cause an issue or maybe are preferable to being next to a home?
No, I can't really think of anything that we would necessarily sell that would really get that big. Elderberries are a really great option just because they're pretty, and they produce elderberries, and they also don't get to be that tall. I know willow trees only get to be about 15 feet. There's just definitely some different, usually fruit bearing trees don't get to be quite as large as something else, like an oak or different things, or pines. So, but yeah, I don't really think
the
what was
root system, pine trees, I've been told over the years, pine trees, of course, can get very tall, but the root system is very shallow. So that could get a storm. I know my parents had an issue here a couple of years ago where a bad storm came through and threw down some pine trees and destroyed their back deck. So
exactly.
It's just part of home ownership. That's why you have insurance. So
yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I recommend that we have a lot of options in Chattanooga is to consult an arborist. And so not everybody wants to chop down their trees. Chopping down your tree actually detracts from the sustainability of your home, with the shade value and things of that nature. So an arborist can come in and assess, okay, this tree is healthy, but these are the pruning techniques that we need to do in order to maintain the health of the tree and the safety of your home. Or they might actually say it is wise to remove the tree. And so, there are a number of arborists in Chattanooga. We're very lucky to have a number of arborists who can do some consulting on your trees for sure.
All right. So we're probably going to go ahead and wrap it up here in just a second. But I appreciate everybody. Sorry we couldn't get through all the quick Q&A, but I'm going to try to do that next time and try to answer a few more. Would love to have you guys back with us again soon. But again, just want to reiterate that we appreciate everybody being here today. And we've got a winner on our Visa gift card giveaway. Stacy McClendon will be in touch with you. So congratulations to Stacy, won the $100 gift card. We will be having another seminar this time or in next month. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on social media. We'll be announcing that. Again, Matt, Melissa, and Hannah, we appreciate you being here. This is our contact information. Again, want to thank everyone for being here. Had a lot of fun today. Again, everybody have a great time. So really appreciate it. Take care, and appreciate it, Matt and Melissa and Hannah. Okay, you guys take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See ya.